With Halloween coming up, I wanted to tell you about a book I recently read. A Mystery of Mysteries, The Death and Life of Edgar Allan Poe by Mark E. D. This book bounces back and forth in time, with chapters alternating between telling the story of Poe's life and other chapters digging into the mystery of the last few months before his death. You see, in 1849, after being missing for a while, Poe turned up on the streets of Baltimore, wandering around in a sort of haze. He died just a few days later. Over the years, there have been a lot of theories as to what exactly happened in those missing days before his death. Some people have suggested that it might have been rabies. Others have argued an opium addiction. Still others think he was abducted and beaten by members of the Pittsburgh Steelers because of that whole Ravens thing. The book does a great job of refuting some of the theories about Poe's death, but it is unable to answer the question of what actually did kill the most widely read author in American history. The fact that it's been 175 years since Poe's death and we still don't know exactly what caused it is kind of shocking, but at the same time it's also kind of fitting. You see, everybody thinks of Poe as the dark, brooding genius who turned out works like The Cask of Amontillado and The Telltale Heart. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary. Nevermore! Which is fair. But the images we have in our head of Poe as this dark, broken man, an alcoholic, an opium addict, a lot of those images come from obituaries written for him after his death by one of his bitterest rivals. Imagine using the power of the press to take out a personal vendetta against somebody who's unable to defend themselves. Good thing that never happens today. Poe was the dark genius behind those stories, of course, but in his time he was better known as a literary critic, and what he really wanted to be known as was a poet, which he considered a much higher art form. Of course, with poems like The Raven and Annabel Lee, I don't know if we would view him very differently if that was the first thing that came to mind. But something a lot of people don't know is that he basically invented the modern detective story. The classic formula of a brilliant deductive mind searching for clues and deducing the identity of the killer, well, that comes from Poe's stories. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle admitted cheerfully that Poe's C. Auguste Dupin was a major inspiration for the creation of Sherlock Holmes. And when you consider how much Poe inspired modern horror, well, pretty much half of modern literature owes something to Poe in one way or another. Still, as much as we would like to know the truth about what really happened to Edgar Allan Poe, in a way I do feel like it's kind of appropriate that we don't. When the man who invented the modern mystery left this world, he left behind one of the greatest literary mysteries of them all.